Today on NBS News, we will discuss three important events that caused the American Revolution: the Battle of Yorktown, the Declaration of Independence, and the Boston Tea Party. In 1771, a group of colonists protested 13 years of increasing British oppression by attacking merchant ships in Boston Harbor. In retaliation, the British closed the port and inflicted even harsher penalties. This famed act of American colonial defiance served as a protest against taxation. Seeking to boost the troubled East India Company, British Parliament adjusted import duties with the passage of the Tea Act in 1773, while consignees in Charleston, New York, and Philadelphia rejected tea shipments. Merchants in Boston refused to concede to Patriot pressure. On the night of December 16, 1773, Samuel Adams and the Sons of Liberty boarded 3 ships in the Boston Harbor and threw 342 chests of tea overboard. This resulted in the passage of the Punitive Coercive Acts in 1774 and pushed the two sides closer to war. Did you know it took nearly 3 hours for more than 100 colonists to empty the tea into harbor? The chests hold more than 90,000 pounds of tea, which would cost nearly $1 million today, but only cost $90,000 back then. Out of Blanca live at the scene.
We are here live at the Boston Tea Party. This action, part of a way of resistance throughout the colonies, had its origins in Parliament's effort to rescue the financial weakened East Indian companies so as to continue benefiting from the company value position in India. The Tea Act, May 10, 1773, adjusted import duties in such a way that the company could undersell even smugglers in the colonies. The company selected consignors in Boston, New York, Charleston, and Philadelphia, and 500,000 pounds of tea were shipped across the Atlantic in September. We're here with Maribel, that is taking act in this event.
We are very disappointed to the stamp act that the British had put on us, and we decided to take charge and dress as Indians to throw our tea over the boat and put it in the ocean because we were very smart.
And why was the main reason of this?
Because the Stamp Act was passed by the British Parliament and we are not very proud.
Is that why you guys say taxation without representation?
Yes, that's exactly why.
Back to you guys.
Even after the initial battles in the Revolutionary War broke out, few colonists desired complete independence from Great Britain, and those who did, like John Adams, were considered radical. Things changed over the course of the next year, however, as Britain attempted to crush the rebels with all the force of its great army. In his message to Parliament in October 1775, King George III railed against his rebellious colonies and ordered the enlargement of the Royal Army and Navy. That same month, the recent British immigrants Thomas Paine published Common Sense, in which he argued that independence was a natural right for all people. Before departing, however, the delegates also appointed a 5-man committee, including Thomas Jefferson of Virginia, John Adams of Massachusetts, Roger Sherman of Connecticut, Benjamin Franklin of Pennsylvania, and Robert R. Livingston of New York, to draft a formal statement justifying the break with Great Britain. That document would become known as the Declaration of Independence. Out of Blanca live at the scene.
Today, July 4th, 1776, Congress officially adopted the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence became a significant landmark in the history of democracy. In addition to its importance in the faith of the fledgling American nation, it also extended a tremendous influence outside the United States, most memorable in France during the French Revolution. Together with the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence became counted as one of the 3 essential founding documents of the United States. We are here with Maribel that took part of this event today.
Finally, the Second Continental Congress had approved of the Declaration of Independence. We had ideas of the affirmed of enlightenment, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We got the ideas mainly from John Locke because he was just a smart guy. And the people who had signed it, like George Washington and John Hancock, they had signed by treason, which we all know that if this war were to go wrong, then they would be caused by penalty of death. The first part of the document explains why we wrote this document. The second part is the list of all why we want to break through, like what the King of Britain did wrong on this.
Back to you guys at the studio.
On this day in 1781, General George Washington, commanding a force of 17,000 French and Continental troops, begins the siege known as the Battle of Yorktown against British General Lord Charles Cornwallis and a contingent of 9,000 British troops at Yorktown, Virginia, in the most important battle of the Revolutionary War. He ordered Marquis de Lafayette and an American army of 5,000 troops to block Cornwallis' escape from Yorktown by land, while the French naval fleet blocked the British escape by sea. By September 28th, Washington had completely encircled Cornwallis and Yorktown with the combined forces of the Continental and French troops. After 3 weeks of non-stop bombardment, both day and night, from cannon and artillery, Cornwallis surrendered to Washington in the field at Yorktown on October 17, 1781, effectively ending the war for independence. Out of Blanco live at the scene.
We are here in Virginia, live at the Battle of Yorktown. Pleading illness, Cornwallis did not attend the formal surrender ceremony, held on October 19th. Instead, his second commander, General Charles O'Hara, carried Cornwallis' sword to the American and French commanders. Although the war proceeded on the high seas and in other theaters, the Patriot victory at Yorktown ended fighting in the American colonies. Peace negotiations began in 1782, and on September 13, 1783, the Treaty of Paris was signed, formally recognized the United States as a free and independent nation after 8 years of war. General George Washington responding defeat of Lord Cornwallis' British army, causing the British to surrender and effectively end the American Revolution War. Here we are live with Maribel that was here live while she saw the whole scene.
It is finally pleased to say that General Cornwallis had surrendered to our American French army that was led by our Commander-in-Chief, General Washington. The British had prevented the French from causing more damage by surrounding them and the ports, and which caused them to surrender.
Okay, thank you. Back to you guys at the studio.
Obviously, one long-term effect of the Boston Tea Party was that it is one of the sparks that led to the American Revolution. Also, it had an effect on future rebellions, like in 1930 with Mohandas Gandhi when he led a salt march. For the Declaration of Independence, it's still used today for laws and in court problems, and is also the birth of our nation. For the Battle of Yorktown, it ended the Revolutionary War, and it led to the signing of the Treaty of Paris, which meant that the colonies had now become their own country and were free of British control.